chakrasi dharanam sahasra shirisham svetam pranamami patanjalim om shanti shanti shanti. Let's open our eyes and just for a second, let the hands rest down. And I just want to talk for a moment here before we begin our practice. We're going to start simple, right? I don't know how to teach online classes just yet. This is definitely a learning experience for me. You can maybe raise your hand or signal. Have you taken online classes before? Yeah? Okay. I haven't even taken any online classes yet. So the way I would like it to work is that we just be safe and sane with this, and we keep with modifications that we know in our practice already. I plan on putting up some videos, so if there's questions, we can kind of refer to those videos on individual pieces of our practice. But yeah, I want to be able to move into where I can demonstrate and you can hear me clearly. Today, it's not going to be that day. This is what you'll see from me. So,
Just doing an online
so
yoga
whether
class.
That's good or bad, right?
Not ready to eat oatmeal. I just added water. Have what you want. Just leave the rest.
All right.
Yeah,
So let's find an
right.
easy and comfortable place to sit, crossing the legs if possible, and then adjusting our posture so we're sitting upright. And then to start with some movement of the neck. So without letting the shoulders hunch forward, bring the chin down, and then maybe take the chin up to the left side, across center, and over to the right. This is a movement most of us are going to be very familiar with, and just start to build a relationship with this movement and your breath. Of course, I do encourage some experimentation. So maybe when your chin is over to one side of the shoulder, see what it feels like to turn the chin up and bring the chin back. Move across and just keep things equal and moving on both sides. When things feel evened out on both sides, maybe bring the chin down towards the chest and then roll up the neck just to neutral. So not even tilting the head to look back, just bringing the chin back and looking down, and then rolling up the neck to neutral. Next time your head is at neutral, just taking a moment, turning the head to look from one side to the other. Coming back to neutral here. And then let's cross our hands. So our thumbs are crossed on the opposite collarbones. And then we're lightly applying pressure down. Good. Down. And then keeping the jaw closed, stretch the chin up and away. Bring the head back to neutral. And then maybe trying the same thing, this time stretching up and then maybe drawing an arc like a rainbow up in the air with the chin or the nose. Bring back to neutral. And then bring your arms up. So reach up, take a deep breath in, open the chest. And then exhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart. So we're warming up for some breath work. So let's do this a few times just to open and expand the muscles of our upper chest and our rib cage. Inhale up, way open, palms forward. Exhale, hands together, neutral spine. A few more times at your own. Lifting, open, hands together, exhale, neutral. Keep going. One more time. Up and back together. And I'm going to take a scooch back and we're going to find maybe some side stretching. So reaching up and over the top. I know you can't see all of me, but we're just opening up the side body. So as you reach up and over, think about breathing right here to this part of your rib cage underneath your armpit. A few breaths there. And we'll move to the other side. So come up, both arms up, deep breath in. Into the other side. Reach out and down and up and over. Open up the rib cage and breathe deeply just below the armpit. Use the breath in to come upright. Reach both arms up. Open like a V. And then bring both hands together in front of the heart. Okay, and then lift your elbows up. So elbows are in a straight line with each other. Good. And we're just going to move our hands to grip the opposite elbow. And then just move elbows to one side. And then across to the other side. And a few times just like this, right? Good. Now, let's keep this grip on the elbows. It's okay if it slips, but we're going to lift our arms up. If you need to move your hands up the forearms or the wrist, that's fine. Just lifting up, opening the chest up. Then exhaling and releasing. Bring the forearms back in front of you. And we're going to switch the grip. So right now, my right hand is on top. I'm just going to move that around. And then the same thing, elbows to one side and then the other. Now I realize that with this digital format, some things like left and right might be different than they would be in a normal class. So don't be too dependent on my left and rights just yet while I figure this out. Your grace is appreciated. And then the same thing, lifting the elbows up. Keep this grip if you can, but it's okay to let your hands move a little to accommodate your individual needs up and maybe back a little behind the head. And then forward, bring the elbows down in front of you, and then just let your hands rest down in the lap. Let's roll our shoulders a few times, up, down, and back. A few times the opposite direction. Take some twisting. So I'm reaching my right hand over to my left knee, right? However you do is fine. And then your left hand behind you, lengthen first with an inhale. And then exhale into the twist. Doesn't have to be hard or forceful. Maybe just taking some time to turn your head forward and turn your head back. The next time you turn your head forward, let the torso come forward and we'll move to the other side. My left hand is moving to my right knee. My right hand's behind me. Lengthen, inhale, and then exhale into the twist. Just taking a few breaths, maybe turning the head forward and turning the head backwards. And the very next time you turn your head forward, if that's what you're doing, release the torso, come back forward, and just relax. So notice in your body if there is anything that you need in your upper body. Maybe some more side stretching, shimmy the shoulders, move your neck, however it's going to feel good. Nice, excellent. And then let's work into some pranayama. So we're going to start relatively simple. So with the advisory that we're not touching our faces, we're going to do an alternate nostril pranayama without using our hands. So this is going to be more of a visualization. Let's put our hands up in front of us. And again, left and right only matters for you, right? So let's start with blocking our right nostril just by closing our right hand and take a breath in. And we're breathing out the left side. Block the left, breathe in the right. Block the right, breathe out the left. Breathe in the left. Block the left and breathe out the right. And close your eyes when you catch the hang of this. Breathe in the right. Block the right and breathe out the left. Now start to slow this down. In the left. Blocking the left and breathing out the right. Continue in one side and out the other. In that side and out the other. It can be tricky, and it's okay if you're not exactly synced up. It's all right. Catch whatever beat works for you. A lot of this is all about just following our hunches, right? And what you're doing is already correct. Just notice if you're holding any tension in the abdomen, if you're holding any tension in the face. Soften around this breath. Take your time, enjoy it. Without rushing to get there. The next time you breathe out the left side, pause there and let both hands rest down. Close the eyes and we'll just take a moment to observe the sensation of the mind, the movement of our breath. observing the way the practice feels in this space. And slowly start to open the eyes when you feel ready and move into a child's pose, however you get there. So maybe you bring the knees around one side or cross the shins and roll over. And just make your way up onto your hands and knees first, and then bring the big toes together, right? There can be a lot that happens between where you're at now and into a child's pose. So maybe take time to let the hips move a little side to side, maybe arching and rounding the back a few times, and then let your hips settle back as close to the heels as is comfortable, and your head rest as close to the ground as is comfortable. Take your time, take a few moments, make your body feel comfortable. This isn't the only warming up we'll do. We will do some more, but first, just taking some time for yourself, and we'll meet in a child's pose. Let's start to move ourselves back up onto our hands and knees. Take your time getting there, but check and see that your hips are basically stacked over the knees. Right? And bring the wrists right under the elbows and the elbows right under the shoulders. And find a really neutral position for your body. So feel in your low back and press into your knees. Not hard, just press your knees into the mat lightly and feel how that helps to engage your low core, helps to bring a little more stability in the low back. Right? And then try and keep that and lift the tailbone up and bring the belly down. So the heart's going to move forward. Deep breath in right to the collarbone. Good job. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back, lift up between the shoulder blades. Simple cat and cow movements. Continue with your breath. Inhale to bring the belly down and the heart shines forward. Exhale, rounds the back. Leah's really got a cat and a cow going on here. It doesn't have to be the deepest movement possible. Think about more important the depth of the breath more than the depth of the pose at this point in warming up. Next time you round up and away, come back to just a neutral spine. And let's take our hands out a little bit wider than they are now, out to the sides, and then bend the elbows and bring in one side of the chest and then the other. There you go. Just a couple times. You got it, Cynthia. Yeah. And then when you feel ready and even, come back to neutral, walk the hands back under the shoulders, and then kind of the same thing with the hips. Just let them rock side to side like a metronome. Doesn't have to be deep. It's okay if they fall far to one side. We want to stretch the outside of the hip. So when you feel that, that's what you're doing it correctly already, but maybe try deepening it by having the hips to one side and then rocking back and forth towards your screen and away, right? So lean to the left and rock front and back. Good job. Take it on both sides. And if this turns into letting the hips orbit around the knees, certainly that's okay. That might feel very good. Doesn't have to be big circles. They can be kind of medium size and get larger as they go, or stay the same. And if you're moving your circles in one direction, this is a good time to switch and move the opposite direction as well. And eventually, let's come back towards neutral. So let it feel even and natural when you do. And then let's move into a twist. So one arm will reach under the other arm and we'll come down onto our shoulder and side of the head. And notice if your hips pulled off to the side as well, and maybe just draw back lightly with the hips so that they pull towards the side that you're reaching towards. You're doing it right, Leah. Yep, exactly. Okay, so your hand that's planted on the ground, push into that hand and reach the arm that's reaching underneath the body up towards the ceiling. So just continue all the way up, open up. Leah, why don't you come all the way up and now reach your arm that was underneath you up. There you go. Perfect. And now just take that a few times. So reach back under, rest down. That's an exhale. Inhale to pull out and reach up. Just moving this way a few times. Up and then down. Move with your breath. It doesn't have to be huge. Your arm doesn't have to reach all the way up towards the ceiling. It's fine if it does. But just know that anywhere is okay. Any piece of the pose is the pose. And if resting down or up for a few breaths sounds good to you, feel free. Explore these movements. And after the next time you reach up, just come back down. So that arm that's up in the air lands on the mat. And then we'll take the same on the other side. So first, reaching the arm underneath, resting down on the shoulder and the side of the head. Give yourself some time there. And then when you're ready to start the movement, the hand that's pressing into the mat will help you up and then reach the arm that you're laying on all the way up towards the ceiling. Reach up and take a full breath in. Enjoy a deep breath in and then continue some movement. Right? Find your breath. It doesn't have to be fast. Take your time. Leah, your kitty's really cute.
He loves the sun.
Good. Next time you reach up, you don't have to rush. Next time you reach up, just bring the hand down and find yourself square. So hands and knees. Find some movement maybe of the shoulders, of the spine, up the hips. And then take your hands a step out in front of you, kind of like we were going to go into downward facing dog, but instead let the hips slide back towards the heels. So if your toes are tucked under, release them and let the hips move back, basically to child's pose, basically. Relax the head down. And then keeping the arms outstretched in front of you, come up onto the knees. So we want our hands a little ahead of the shoulders and then start rocking the hips forward towards the ground. Right, so we're up on the hands and knees. Let me see if I can demo here. Hands out in front, and as we come forward, bend the elbows to let the hips come down. And we're just rocking back and forth this way. So our hips don't have to go all the way to the heels and they don't have to come all the way to the ground. Did you see it, Cynthia? Just rocking back and forth. And the next time your hips are back, pause there and relax the body. Any tension you might be holding in the shoulders, it's okay to release that. You can let the hands slide back a little bit towards the body and just find your most restful pose here. Let's move up onto our hands and knees again, and then just take a look up at the screen. I'm going to demonstrate the next movement before we're trying to do it and stare at our screens, right? So I'll just demonstrate quickly. We're going to move back, up, downward facing dog, down, and back. So it's a little like a Z formation. Okay. So beginning with the hands out in front of you, tuck the toes under, hips move up and back. Don't get too married to the idea that there's only one way to do this, right? Make it make sense in your body, right? If your hips go far forward, that's okay, but it doesn't have to be far. You're just moving through some poses that feel familiar and comfortable for your body as we learn how to modify our practice here. How does downward facing dog feel on a carpet underneath of your mat? Does it feel stable for everybody? Yeah. If it feels like you're a little bit more slippery, a little less stable, it might be nice to have your hands up towards the front of the mat and you can actually hold on to your mat with your hands and it'll help stabilize you a little bit. Let's all meet up in downward facing dog. And I can't see what Margot and Candace are doing, and that's fine. So we'll just meet in downward facing dog at your comfort. Whenever you get there is totally okay. Let's step the right foot forward. So bring the left knee down first and then step the right foot between the hands. So we have a low lunge. We're going to move from a low lunge first. Let's try letting the hips sink and the heart lift. That looks good. Keep your hands on the ground. Back knee down on the ground. There you go. Okay, let's put our hands on the front knee. Help our torso upright. And then when you feel stable, it's going to feel different than in studio, but reach up towards the ceiling if and when you feel stable. Bring your right hand right down next to your side. Right hand comes down. And then reach up and over. It's okay if you don't get to the ground. You don't have to touch the ground. Just stretching your side body. Coming upright. 2 arms up. And then let's bend the elbows. Deep breath out as you lift the heart up. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bring 2 hands down to the mat. All the way down. Good. And let's step the right knee back right next to the left knee. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back. Stretch the body long, downward facing dog. And we'll do the same thing, stepping the left foot forward. So right knee down first, left foot between the hands. And then work towards letting the hips sink. So you might need to take the right knee back a little bit, right? Letting yourself have some space for the hips to drop down. Good. Hands stay connected to the earth, heart lifting up. You got it. Hands to the knees next when you're ready. And then arms up towards the ceiling if and when you feel stable. Reaching up. Take a deep breath in. Take the left hand down right next to your side and then reach up and over. It doesn't matter about getting to the ground. If you get the ground, that's fine. But we really want to stretch the side body wide and open. Maybe turn the head to look up. Good. Use your next breath in. Reach up towards the ceiling. Bend the elbows. Bring them back and lift the heart up. Deep breath in. Reach up. Exhale. 2 hands come down to the mat. And this time, tuck the back toes under and step to downward facing dog. Excellent. Take a deep, full breath in. And then use your next exhale to bring the knees down and let the hips move back towards the heels and relax the body. I want to take a lot of time throughout our practice today to observe, right? So we're observing the movement in our mind. We're observing the movement of our breath and any sensation we might be feeling in our body, whether that's a physical sensation or something more subtle. Check in with any emotions you may be experiencing. Excellent. Let's move with a few rounds of breath back up onto our hands and knees. Keep the hands out in front of you, and then make your way to downward facing dog, right? Familiar poses today. Downward facing dog. And we're going to start to work towards a standing forward fold. So as you inhale, step the feet towards the hands. Actively lift your torso away from the mat to give yourself some room. Excellent. And then soften the knees and fold forward. So more important than having straight legs is having your torso connected with your thighs. So softening the knees might make that a little bit easier, and it's definitely okay to soften the knees quite a bit. Just relax the body. This might be a good place to find that grip with the elbows and let the arms dangle like a rag doll. You might even connect your hands behind the legs. If that feels comfortable, it might be a little bit more intense than the rag doll, but feel free to give your body a nice little hug. Your hands can rest on the ground. However you're doing it is already correct. Maybe allowing the head to nod yes a few times or shake it no a few times. And soften the knees quite a bit. Generous softness in the knees, and then round the back like a tortoise shell as you come all the way up to standing, and then reach your arms up. Excellent. Then exhale, let the hands come down to your sides. Inhale, stretch both arms up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Relax the body. Just give yourself a few rounds of breath. Maybe work, if your knees are very soft, you could work towards straightening the legs, but only to the point that it doesn't push your body away from the thighs. And soften the knees, release any grip you might have. Bend the knees generous. Inhale, round the back all the way up to standing. Reach the arms out and up. Exhale, let the hands come down by the sides. Same thing, again, we're just going to move through a few times without stopping. So inhale, reach up. Exhale and soften the knees, fold forward. Let's add our half lift. So inhale, straighten the legs and flatten the back. You can lift quite a ways away from the ground. Hands can be on the legs or on the ground, however suits your practice. Use your next exhale to soften and fold back forward. Inhale, stand up and stretch up. Deep breath in, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, reach both arms up. It's okay, Leah, keep going. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, lift half, flatten the back. Exhale and fold down. Inhale, stand up and stretch up. Exhale, complete with your hands down. Beautiful. At your own pace, try it a few times. Inhale, lifting or folding, half lift, and then all the way back up. It's okay for this to work a different way than what I've cued. So just find the movement, find the breath. Definitely when I think about right and wrong in a yoga class, I think more about safe and unsafe. I hear somebody's breath. Sounds good. Keep the breath moving strongly and surely, not necessarily forcefully, just allow it to be a guiding force in your practice. After the next time you stand up and reach up, bring your hands together in front of the heart and let your eyes close and just take a moment to observe here. So find the most natural grounded position that you can find in your body. Maybe adjust where your feet are. They can be all the way together or maybe hip distance apart. Notice where you feel the most balance. So shift some weight from one foot to the other, and then pause where it feels the most balance in both feet. And then same with the hips. Maybe rock them back and forth, like tucking the tailbone and rounding, and just finding that neutral position for your hips, your shoulders, and your head. Notice where your head feels the most balanced at the top of the neck. And when you find it, close your eyes and hold steady in this pose. Pranamasana. Let's open the eyes. Stretch the arms up and maybe stretch the arms back a bit. Then exhale, fold forward. So soften the knees and fold all the way down. Soften the knees so that the hands are on the ground, and use your next breath in to step the right foot back, as far back on the mat as you can, leaving the left knee right over the ankle. Lift your heart forward. There you go. Perfect. Good job. Okay, let's lift up to a crescent lunge. So hands to the knees first. Lift your torso upright. And when and if you find stability, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Doesn't have to happen, right? We feel different on carpet. Let's take a full deep breath in. Then use the exhale to put two hands down on the mat and step the front foot back next to the back foot. Just like a plank, plank. There you go. Okay, option, let's lift our hips directly up to downward facing dog. Hips up and back, press the heels down towards the ground. This is a great option for us. I think we're gonna stick with this for today as far as my cueing goes. If there's another series of poses or another pose in there that you already feel comfortable with, feel free to do that, right? Anytime we go to downward facing dog, we can meet there however best works for us. Let's use an inhale, step, both feet. We're coming forward to our half lift, so actively lifting away from the mat. Good, and then folding down, soften. Inhale, stand up and stretch up. Then exhale, complete. We'll do the same again. Inhale, stretch the arms up and maybe back a little bit. Lift the chest up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold all the way down. Relax the body, let the head hang. Hands on the mat or on blocks, but same. Lift, and we'll step the left foot back to a lunge. So left foot will move as far back as you can, keeping the right knee over the ankle. And then eventually find stability first and lift the torso up. Hands can come to the knee when you're ready, or up towards the ceiling if that's part of the practice today. Doesn't have to be. When you find stability, arms are up. Excellent. Take a breath in. And then exhale to put two hands down on the mat. And we'll step back. Downward facing dog. We can meet there. Feel free to move through a series of poses if you like. And working back towards the front of the mat. Use an inhale to initiate the movement. Come forward. Lengthen. Lift away. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Beautiful. Inhale, stand up and stretch up. Exhale, complete. 2 hands down. Close the eyes and observe. Open the eyes and use an inhale to stretch the arms up towards the ceiling, maybe back a little bit, opening up the chest. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Same as we did before. Hands on the ground. Inhale to step the right foot back as far as you can get it, keeping the left knee over the ankle. And lift the torso upright. Hands can come to the knee. Let's check how stable we are here now. If your hands can reach up towards the ceiling, that's great. If they stay on the knee, that's also fine. Just checking in. What do we got today in this new space that we're sharing? Deep breath in. And then exhale, 2 hands down to the mat. Step back, find downward facing dog. A little different than before. Use an inhale to step the right foot forward between the hands. So that might involve bringing the left knee down to help get it there. Doesn't have to happen. It might take a couple steps. You can wiggle, use whatever modification you need. And when you find stability with your front knee right over the ankle, lift up. Hands on the knee when that feels appropriate, and arms towards the ceiling when and if that feels appropriate. Deep, full breath in, and follow your exhale. Hands come down to the mat, step back, and make it to downward facing dog, however best honors and expresses your practice today. And then let's start to move back towards standing. Use a breath to initiate the movement, coming forward, lifting away, and then exhale, softening to fold down. Inhale, stand up and stretch all the way up. Exhale, complete. 2 hands down, eyelids softening to close. Just taking a moment to be present. No adjustments necessary, right? Just listening to the body with the body. Use an inhale, open the eyes and stretch up towards the ceiling. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Inhale, stretch up, flatten the back. Then use your exhale, place the hands on the mat and step back. Find a downward facing dog. Just go directly there and stretch the body long. Take a full deep breath in. Then use your exhale to bring the knees down to the mat. And let's move the hips back towards the heels and relax the body. And let's open our eyes and move onto our belly. So you can lift up and move forward. bring the hips down. Bending the elbows will make it much more accessible, a little less pinch in the back maybe, and then work to where the elbows are basically underneath of your shoulders. And then we're just going to start turning your head. So turn and look over your right shoulder. Let your body lean with it. Then turn and look over the left shoulder. And just try this a few times. Now look up here, look at the screen, and we're going to stack our forearms, rest our head down, and then move our feet like windshield wipers. Lay the feet down softly behind you, and then lift yourself back up. So we're propped up on the elbows. Excellent. So a seal pose, we're going to take our hands together like this. So out in front of you, thumbs together, reach your arms out. Lifting the heart up. There you go. So the further away from you your hands are, the less intense it's going to be on your back. Moving the hands back is going to create more of a back bend. Right? What we want to avoid is shoulders pushing forward. Keep the shoulders back and the chest lifting. And then soften. So let's bring the elbows down, stack the forearms, and rest your head. Keep your forehead down, but move your hands back underneath the shoulders. Hands underneath the shoulders, just like Cobra. Well, we are in fact doing Cobra pose. So let's bring the legs together and keep your hips grounded. So elbows are tucked in very close to your rib cage, and then lift the heart forward and up. So keeping the hips grounded and the elbows bent, lift the heart forward, and then pulling back with the hands as if you were going to slide yourself forward across the mat. Keep breathing. Deep breath in. And then exhale, release down, forehead to the mat. Soften the body. Take a breath into the low belly. Excellent. Let's take our hands back a step from where they are. So back closer to the rib cage. Good. Elbows tuck in close. Squeeze the thighs together this time. Okay, so even, let's take it a step further. Cross the right ankle over the left ankle. And then squeeze like a pair of scissors. Now lift the head and the heart up. Keep the hips grounded. Now squeeze the legs and lift from the thigh. Whole leg up. Doesn't have to be far. Any piece of the pose is in fact the pose. Deep breath in. Exhale. Release softly down. Cross your legs the other direction. Left on top of right. Okay. Hands are still back by the midrib. Elbows tucked in close to the body. Use an inhale. Lift the head and the heart up. Pull back with the hands as if you're going to slide yourself forward, and then squeeze the legs and lift. Doesn't have to be far. Take another deep breath in, and then exhale, release down, and uncross the legs. Press up onto the knees and move the hips back towards the heels to relax the body. Let your torso either rest over the thighs in a child's pose, or maybe open the knees and let your body rest between the thighs. Let's move ourselves gradually back up to our hands and knees so we can bring our legs out in front of us. So however you get to your legs extending out in front of you is fine. You might roll over the shins or bring the knees around the side and then extend the legs in front of you like an L. So sitting on the ground with your legs in front of you, you might need something underneath of your hips. So I have a yoga blanket for me, but any kind of blanket, sweatshirt, hoodie, couch cushion will work just fine as a yoga prop as well. Right, so just so that our hips are off of the ground a little bit might help us to sit upright. Right now, with your legs, right? Here's my legs. Pull the feet back, but also press down so that the heels aren't lifting up off the ground. Pull back, and then lift your heart up against this Dandasana position. Now try and hold the same basic shape. Reach your arms in front of you and let them come down onto the legs. So reaching forward, find the furthest point that you can. Maybe your toes, maybe it's on your ankles, shins, or up close to the knees. And keep your spine long, nice and long. Lengthen with an inhale. And as you exhale, reach the heart forward towards the feet. So more concerned with moving forward than moving down towards the thighs. Keep your head in a very natural position so it's not craning to look ahead of you, also not dropping down. Good. Use your next breath in to start to sit up. Baddha Konasana, so bend your knees so they move out to the side and the soles of your feet come together. Right. If this position pushes your knees way up, it's okay to support that with some blocks under the knees, or maybe try sliding the feet a little further away from your body. It might make a more natural position for you. Let's use the same principle. So inhale to lift the heart forward. Right? If this is already rounding and pushing you back, you might be in your pose. Right? So lift the heart forward and move towards your feet. And then find a little side to side movement. Letting the muscles around the low back and the hips start to open and release. And it might help take you closer to the ground. Not necessarily the goal. The goal is feeling good, being able to concentrate and breathe in any position we're taking. Let's start to come back up from where we're at. Take your time. And then just let the legs cross. Just sitting in an easy seated position. And that actually, it doesn't have to be legs crossed. If that's not easy or comfortable, then sit however is. Modify with whatever sitting position maybe sitting back on the heels with the legs behind you, or let the legs extend out in front of you, whatever the most easy position is for you. And then let your eyes softly close. Come back to the breath and notice your posture. Notice if you're starting to slump forward. And it's okay. We're just working towards lengthening upright. So, as many times as you need to remind yourself to sit up, to open the chest, to lift your head so it's not dropping in front of you, all these cues are welcome anytime. Right? Notice when it doesn't feel like you're grounded into your sitting bones anymore. Come all the way back to the breath. Follow it deep into the belly. So the inhale, we want to expand the belly out in all directions. And as we exhale, it's just a very natural, soft release. There's no effort towards forcefully breathing in and out. Not here, not today. Just allowing things to move. Just allowing that our new reality, this reality that we're living with now, although it's a little bit, it's a little bit scary. We can let that move through us too, the same way as the breath can move through us. It's there for a time and then it's gone, and we're on to the next thing. And so we can work through this time together, and we can show up for each other in lots of different ways. And this is one way that I'm showing up for you, and I really appreciate you showing up for us as well. It means so much for me to be able to be here, and I'm really grateful for this technology and for Lisa, who put this together so quickly for us. We'll get back to feeling normal as soon as we can. Just take some time listening to the breath, listen to your body with your body. Let every exhale create some space within you. Right? Let every inhale fill that space. Right? And what we're filling that space with is completely personal. Maybe we're making space for more groundedness. Maybe we're making space for more peace, more willingness, more acceptance. Maybe it's many things. Or perhaps we don't know what we're creating space for, and we're just holding space. Let's bring our hands together in front of the heart. Thank you all for joining. Namaste. Please lay down and take Shavasana. Rest. I mean, you're in your own home. Take Shavasana as long as you want. And then just carry this with you throughout the day and join us. I'll be here Monday through Friday, this time slot. I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you. If you have any questions, get at me after class is done. I have my Facebook. That's just what I'm doing. So I appreciate communication. Don't stay distant just because we can't be together in the same proximity. All right. I love you all very much.
Thank you, Ronny.
Thank you, sweetheart. For some reason, you're muted. Oh, he's ended the meeting.
Nope, I didn't. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Something weird happened.
Candace is here too.
Hi, Candace.
She's probably in Shavasana.
She's
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yep.
Hi, Candace.
I turned it on.
Okay.
I made it all the way until 10